Hello everybody, I just want to start by saying I apologise for the, more Fallout 4 footage when the video has absolutely nothing to do with Fallout 4, but it's a bit difficult really because I can't actually use the trailer footage, or Square Enix will detect it with their system and probably try and mute me. So anyway, it has happened before, but never mind. So I'm just going to talk about it with Fallout in the background because why not? An example of a good game with lots of content on one disc. So yeah, you probably all know by now, but I'm just going to go through it anyway, that Square Enix have announced that Final Fantasy is now going to be put into lots of different episodes, different parts, in order to help preserve the game, because the game is too big for one single media storage or something. Can't remember the exact words, but anyway. It feels very familiar to Final Fantasy VII in that sense, the original. I mean, that was on numerous discs, and this one they want to release episode by episode. Now, it could be me being extremely cynical, but I think you'll find that each episode, because they're saying, is as big as a full game. As big as a full game nowadays, when some games are literally just online play. But I won't get into that. That's for another day. And I just feel like we're gonna have 4-5 different episodes of Final Fantasy VII, and they're all gonna cost £40 each. They're probably all going to be downloadable, and they're trying to say that they can't fit the whole game on a 50 or whatever gigabyte it is Blu-ray disc. Now, no, they might not be able to do that, potentially. It was a very big game, and no doubt they're going to cut things out, but surely then you just make the game with more discs, if it is 2 or 3 discs or 4 discs. The thing is, they make the game as a promise to the fans. They said it was, one for everyone who enjoyed the last iteration, for the memories of those people that enjoyed the last iteration. And to be honest, part of the feeling was it was basically going to be a lot of fan service, that they were going to do what made it so good in the first place, that they were going to pay homage to the fans that have stuck by them through, and bought the original game all that time ago. But they're going further and further away from that with pretty much every announcement that they're making, unfortunately. And it's not great at all, not by any stretch. This idea to make the game, chop it up into pieces, and have them be totally unique story experiences is going away from the whole ethos of what Final Fantasy VII was about. Now, people might criticise me for saying stuff about the new installments of Final Fantasy. When I say that, it's not in keeping with the traditional Final Fantasy values and gameplay and structure. But when they make a game that is purely to do with that, remaking one of the classics, surely this now applies that they should be doing that. I'm not saying you have to keep the same turn-based system, but making the game, cutting it down into pieces, as I say, probably 4 or 5, probably like what would be a disc's worth each time. And it's probably not even going to fill up a Blu-ray disc each game. And then split it off and sell it at £40 each. So what? You might be looking at £200 for the full version of the game. It is ludicrous. The other side of things is maybe they're nowhere near finished in development in time to get it out, but they will be finished in time to make a 5th of the game that they can release at that point, which then, gives them another 5-year cycle, 5 years of decent profits. People are going to keep wanting to buy the next episode in the Final Fantasy VII remake story, even though we already know what happens. And it makes the company look pretty good year on year. They're guaranteed a lot of sales. But then again, I suppose they released a Final Fantasy every year, they would still do quite well, even though I do massively think they're diluting the brand. But such is life, and such is the nature of the games industry as it is. But I digress. I just feel a bit betrayed, I think. It keeps away from the story. It keeps away from the traditions and values of Final Fantasy, and I don't like that at all. So, nothing we can do about it. That is just the way it is. Well, there's stuff we can do about it. We could not buy the game. But people, out of, whether it's pure curiosity or, love for the previous game, are going to go out and buy that first episode regardless. So, anyway, they'll like and say, we'll change that. But I just wanted to make the point, I'm very disappointed in it all. It's been great seeing that trailer, seeing it reimagined, not so much the battle system, not so much the fact that it's going to be released into parts. I think the excuses that they're making are very much without any substance, I mean, I'm not technical enough to tell you how much data a full game would need, but, why not put it on 2 or 3 Blu-rays? Sell it for £60 if you're going to go and remake all Final Fantasy VII. Don't split it into 4 or 5 parts and sell it as at £40 each. It's ludicrous. It really is. But there you go. They keep coming out with these excuses like, oh, we'll be more exploration in Midgar and all this, but the exploration that we had in Final Fantasy VII was pretty amazing, and I do agree that recreating that in a game for the current generation of consoles and the current expectations of that is going to be a lot more difficult. So yeah, charge more money, do it on multiple Blu-rays if it has to be, but don't go telling me that you got to split it up into each part. Final Fantasy VII, Episode 1, Midgar. Final Fantasy VII, Episode 2, I don't know what you would... I can't remember where the second discs end. But yeah, basically that's what they'd be doing. And it's not great. It's not good for gaming. It's not good for RPGs. And hopefully, if they do go through with it, it won't be good for Square Enix either. I would really like to see them fail with this. Not being bitter much, but when you ruin something that people love and have very strong feelings for, that people are going to quite rightly be annoyed by it. And that's how I feel. But anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. Please share your opinions down below. I'd love to hear from you. And I'll get back to you in due course. Thank you very much for watching.